When I was a small child, my mother had an uncle that worked in the Vatican Secretary of State's office as a civilian, and on occasions when he would come home to visit the family, he would sit for hours and talk about the international intrigue going on behind the scenes of world government and religion, and it was fascinating to me, and I grew up with this. I have a senator and a congressman in my family from long ago. I have federal judges in my family, so I grew up in the atmosphere of politics behind the scenes, listening to very wise men in politics and religion talking about conspiracies and international intrigue. And so I was very interested in this subject in my teens, and then of course when I first heard your albums that you produced on the Illuminati, all the pieces began to fit together better for me, because I understood there was world conspiracy. Something that the old man said many years ago. He said that conspiracies are able to deal with just about anything. They can buy you off, they can shoot you, they can deal with you in just about any way they want.
Well, they own the money system.
Right, but the one thing he said they cannot deal with is exposure. No conspiracy can deal with exposure. Once the truth is out and the people understand, then they have problems. And I am saying that the power of any government is in people. And a classic example of that, how would you like to go to a summit with the King of America and the King of China, and you being the King of Fredonia with 500 subjects? You might as well stay home, because the power of a king is in how many people are in his kingdom. So the point I'm making here is that there is a tremendous power in the hands of the people of America if they would just wake up, because they are the power of this country. The people decide what will happen, and the people have allowed these things to happen and allowed them to continue to go their way and be entertained, and that is the problem we're facing, not only with the religious and political leaders that are part of this, but the real problem is the people have allowed it to happen.
Well, in the land of the blind, the one eye is king. Terry Cook, you came on strong and heavy just a few years ago, and you become the expert on this new computer chip that's supposed to go in the back of the hand. It all relates to this Council on Foreign Relations group, the Bilderbergers, the Club of Rome, this oligarchy who's trying to bring it all about.
That's right, Anthony. Let's make a very complex issue as simple as possible for the people's benefit. The New World Order really consists of three aspects. There is a New World political system that everyone today is calling the New World Order. As well as that, there is an economic plan for the New World Order, and that is called the New World Economic Order. In addition to those two items, there's a third plan for religion. You see, the planners of the world know that men need a religion of some kind, even if it's a false one. So they have a plan to give us a new age world global occultic religion. So really there's three aspects to this New World Order. A New World Economic Order in which a computer chip will be injected into our hands or foreheads as a means to track, control, and identify us, and will also be used to make our purchases and scan at stores.
Well, they've already put the program in Los Angeles. In fact,
right.
A trilateralist named Mayor Bradley, Uncle Tom Bradley, was responsible for putting this in dogs.
Right.
And your children will be considered like animals. And
but you know, before we get into that, which is later down the road, I think we should clearly explain to people what the Illuminati is. You know, for those of us who are acquainted with this term, we don't have to explain it to ourselves, but for the average person out there, they've never heard this term. Jordan, explain to people what Illuminati means.
Well, it comes from, the word Illuminati comes from the Latin word illuminan or illumin, which means light. And so anyone who is enlightened or brilliant, and of course those who are the most enlightened are called brilliant people.
Well, it comes from Lucifer. Well, what we're really talking about here is Lucifer, the fallen angel, and they have picked up on this, the Illuminati. And if you take a look at some of the Chevys now, they're called the Lumen. They have the horns going up in the back of the vehicle, very subtly telling us that something is coming down by the year 2000.
Yes. Well, as I was saying, it implies those who hold the light, the enlightened ones, and they sent us a statue, as a matter of fact. Those ancient Illuminatis sent us a statue called the Statue of Liberty. It's holding the torch of illumination, which is the Promethean torch of Freemasonry. And if you go to the Statue of Liberty, you'll see a bronze plaque inside saying that this was given to the government of America by the French Grand Orient Temple Masons. And it is a symbol of Grand Orient Freemasonry in America, the holder of the light. And that's exactly the same torch that is carried during the Olympics. It is the torch of Prometheus.
It's not the torch of freedom.
No, it's not the torch of freedom.
Of the illuminati.
Illumination.
So essentially, in a nutshell then, Jordan, these men whom we tend to call or group in an organization called the Illuminati. It's a loose-knit but tightly secretive organization.
Well, operating through the Council on Foreign Relations, through the Trilateral Commission, through the Club of Rome, through Global 2000, which wants to reduce the population of the planet by, 25%. 25, that's 1,250,000,000 people have to be exterminated by the year 2000.
Well, they can do that.
So essentially, this Illuminati then is the group of men who control not only all the money on the planet through all the world banks and the Federal Reserve and so on, but they control essentially all the governments. And so these men are planning to bring about a global form of government that's unique in all history. It's a total enslaving system of world communism and fascism, controlled by a hierarchy in Europe that Anthony calls what? The oligarchy.
Well, no, I call it the evil-archy.
The evil-archy.
The oligarchy of evil.
So these men are satanically inspired, and of course we get that term from the Bible, which means the devil. They're satanically inspired to bring about a global form of government to every nation on earth.
I wanted to add also that on the back of the Liberty dime, on the back of the old dime in America, there was the fasci, which you look in the encyclopedia or dictionary and look at the word fascism, you'll see that the symbol for world fascism was a bundle of sticks or bundle of rods with a hatchet head. That was on the back of the
Well, you see that
dime.
on each side of the speaker's podium at Congress.
Oh, absolutely.
So they have the fasci on each side.
Absolutely, and it's also the symbol for the United States Senate is the fasci. But the point I want to make is that that was on the old dime. Now, on the new dimes, you will see it has been transplanted a torch instead of the old fasci, because fascism was used at one time to prepare the world for the New World Order. Now the New World Order is in place. That's why on the dollar bill it says Nova Ordo Seclorum is New Order of the World, but at the top of the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill is Annuit Coeptus, which is not means our enterprise or our project has been crowned with success. So the point I want to make is that on the back of the American dime today, anyone can look at the back of the dime and see the torch of illumination, which is carried in the Olympics, which is the torch that the Statue of Liberty carries. It is the torch of the Illuminati who are illuminated.
But what we need to do is explain this term New World Order, because do you realize how few people out there have actually heard George Bush and others use this occultic phrase that we're talking about, the New World Order? George Bush said it well over 200 times, and if you ask the average person on the street if they even heard it once, they'll answer no.
When Hitler talked about a 1,000-year Reich, and Bush talks about 1,000 points of light, there's more than just a small similarity. They are one and the same. We're talking about a Fourth Reich the rich, and that's what we're talking about with the New World Order. They want it all. And that fiat funding money that we use isn't money at all. It's debt in the privately owned Federal Reserve. Well, the privately owned Federal Reserve is neither federal nor a reserve. It's private.
That's right.
A private banking institution which is draining us. It's like America is an invalid in the hospital and dying, and they're putting up an IV bleed to bleed us of the remaining blood that we have to bring us down to the very bottom.
That's absolutely correct, Anthony. And since you brought up the Federal Reserve, let's look at the back of our dollar bill and analyze the symbol of the Illuminati. That's what this is, folks. It's also a Masonic symbol, but it's the symbol of the Illuminati, which controls, as Anthony said, all your money through the Federal Reserve, all the U.S. government money, and through other world banks, all the world's money. But this is their symbol, and this is basically the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, Satan, the devil. And what this inscription means here is announcing the birth of the satanic New World Order government. And Jordan, when was this placed on our dollar bill and by whom, and what was the story?
Well, it was placed in 1934, 35, I think it was, originally on the dollar bill. But what I wanted to draw attention to is the fact that it's an Egyptian pyramid. And you had better look at the idea of why an Egyptian pyramid is on an American dollar bill.
Well, it's a symbol of slavery, Jordan, because that pyramid was put together with slave labor. And on our dollar bill, this is the reverse seal. And if we take a look at the schematic of Washington, D.C., we see the layout.
Right, but it was also one of the greatest bricklaying projects the world has ever known. And bricklayers are referred to as brick masons, so it is a symbol of the Masonic orders of the world.
That makes sense.
And it is a very powerful symbol that has been used by the ancient secret societies, and I am here to tell you that that pyramid called Cheops Pyramid is a very important symbol to the world Illuminati.
And they're constructing the Illuminati Luxor up in Las Vegas.
Oh, I understand.
On Las Vegas Boulevard. I was up there with our cameraman here, and
is that a new hotel in Las Vegas?
A new hotel, 33 stories. I mean, with the capstone.
What's the significance of 33, Anthony?
Well, I think Jordan would be better able to answer that.
When we get into numerology, that is a whole interesting subject of how numbers are used by the ancient world. 13 is an unlucky number, we're told.
It's a satanic number.
Well, but it's called an unlucky number because originally it dealt with Jesus and his 12. Jesus and the 12 make the 13, upon which a new order of life would be established on earth. The conspirators have then seized upon this term of the 13, Jesus plus the 12, and have begun to build on that a new world order. Something I wanted to bring out about this new world order, because we said we want to explain it. Let me make this point, that Europe is referred to as the old world, and anything coming from Europe is the old world. When you understand that Europe dominated the world for almost 1,600 years, and the Vatican dominated Europe. The Vatican dominated the old world order. Those banking families that were Roman Catholic banking families of Europe were the powers of the world. They dominated the world. With the coming of America, America becomes known as the New World. Remember, Columbus discovered a new world. When we hear the word New World Order, we're talking about a fraternal order of power, religion, money, operating out of the New World, America.
But a satanic, occultic, evil form of power.
The big picture, they want it all. They want to enslave your child, your wife, your mother. There isn't anything that you ever had. There isn't anything that you own. There isn't any right that you possess that they're not planning on taking away. They want it all. You've got a choice. You can join in this fight, or you can die as a slave.
When George Bush used this term, he used several other terms that went along with this term, New World Order. He also said 1,000 points of light. He used another term, New Age, another term, peace and safety. Jordan, who else in history has used this terminology?
Well, of course, all of the despots of history have used similar terminology, and it's always been the same concept of a total world domination. Go back to Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon, talking about how he had gathered all the peoples under him and how impressed he was with himself. You go down the line, and all of the great dictators and tyrants of the world have always dreamed of taking over the world. But everyone tried it the wrong way. Everyone has tried to take over the world with military, and everyone has discovered that military will not work. You cannot police and militarize enough to take over the world. So the Illuminati in 1776 developed a whole new concept of how to pull this project off. Instead of trying to force people into a new order or a totalitarian dictatorship under military, which you cannot do because people are always going to rebel at that, the idea was developed by Adam Weishaupt to create enough violence and create enough chaos and enough bloodshed to frighten the world, so that the entire world of mankind would one day come to the conclusion that there's too much bloodshed, too much crime, and there's just no possible way for the human race to exist unless we come together and pool our resources, and all of us accept one government and one order, and we will all live together in peaceful, happy, on one family, and nothing could be further from the truth.